In the last 30 minutes of the show today, we have the lawyer for the black man that got beat up and is now in the hospital, beat up by Obama supporters, calling him the N-word and beating him, saying, how dare another N-word come to one of these events? It's just absolutely incredible. And this lawyer is a listener of the show. The man that got beat up is a listener. So that's great. They now contact us. He's going to be on Fox News right before he comes on with us, right before 2:30 Central. That's what he told us. So this story is going mega viral. And I tell you, it doesn't matter if it's the Castle being booed off the stage. That's our listener, sends us the video. Lloyd Doggett, our listeners. You want to talk about stage, it's my listeners. And I'm not telling them to go out and do this. This is their First Amendment right to do it. But it's not just our listeners, it's everybody across the board. Dr. Corsi continuing, how is the establishment going to counter this? I mean, do you think Obama will stage a crisis or something? I don't see any other way. He is falling faster than any other president. He's lower than Bush was at this time, lower than Jimmy Carter. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. The hoax that is Obama is deflating monstrously fast. What do you see them doing?
Well, they're going to have, what he's going to do immediately is on Sunday, he's headed to Mexico. We've got the another meeting, which should be the Security and Prosperity Partnership meeting. They've renamed these meetings now, Alex, as you know. They're calling it the North American Leaders Summit. As I reported on WorldNet Daily and also my Red Alert newsletter, I've got articles saying that there's a plan that has been advanced by several of the think tanks saying the attention that we've brought, your show has brought, others have brought on the Security and Prosperity Partnership is, this North American Union agenda, that the exposure has hurt the integration effort. So they've really changed the name, North American Leaders Summit. They've downgraded the meeting. It's no longer Security and Prosperity Partnership. If you look at the website, spp.gov, they've got a notice on the website that they're in the process of reformatting the site. So they're even going to do a public relations makeover, the Department of Commerce, the Security and Prosperity Partnership website.
Well, Dr. Corsi, let me ask you this.
All under the radar.
All under the radar. That's my point. All under the radar. This seems like to be one of their only tricks. They've got 5 or 6 tricks they do. I mean, you could count them on both hands. They always, take the North American superhighways, the Trans-Texas corridors, the NAPA superhighways. First, they announced it 10 years ago and said it was great. People said they didn't want it. They said it didn't exist. Then they changed the name again. Then they said they'd canceled the program, but in the same article announced they were just renaming it. I mean, SPP is now going to change their name. This is just incredible. I mean, people are seeing through this.
Well, and Reuters is running a press release now, because there's only things coming out about this meeting in the last hours before the meeting happens. I mean, I can't see anything on television or any announcements really from the White House that this is a big deal meeting. It's very low key. But on the agenda is that the Mexican trucks are going to come back into the United States. I've reported on this in Red Alert and at WorldNet Daily. No one seems to be, you're covering it, Alex, but very few are, that there's going to be reintroduced legislation. Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood has now gotten it through all the internal Obama administration departments. And as you recall, the money was taken out of the Department of Transportation to Democrats. It was North Dakota Senator Byron Dorgan and also Peter DeFazio, who was he was in the House leading the effort to take out the money from the Department of Transportation budget to discontinue the Bush administration Mexican truck demonstration project. Now the legislation is going to say they have new rules, and suddenly the Mexican trucks are going to be safe under the U.S. Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance standards, which is a joke. Mexican trucks don't meet standards with brakes or with equipment in other capacities. They don't meet hours or time on the road.
Well, regardless, Doctor, as you know, you've been to many of these events and covered them and written a best-selling book about it, The Late Great USA. Even if they did a great job, which they're not, it's unconstitutional, it's criminal to take our liberty, our freedom, our sovereignty, and give it to these unelected boards. Reuters is reporting on it, but they're acting like it's just an anti-drug summit, which is what Pasteur, your archenemy, our archenemy, your nemesis, wrote about in this plan, how they would use crises, drug war, flu, and economic collapse to bring this in.
And the Reuters has put the drug issue right at the top of their press release. Mexico's drug wars, what this is evidently being billed as being about. But it should be I believe, the 5th meeting of the Security and Prosperity Partnership Annual Summit.
Amazing. Tell us more about it. You're the expert on this when we get back with Dr. Jerome Corsi. Then we'll get into the latest birther issue. Dr. Corsi's been doing in-depth research with the state of Hawaii.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. We are here live. I'm doing an abbreviated Sunday transmission, 4 to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Dr. Corsi, I want to continue with the SPP, North American Union meeting going on. You know, for years they would deny that even existed. And then you and others, Judicial Watch sued, got their internal documents. There they were, saying it's North American Union, a global carbon tax. We got to keep this secret from the public. I mean, very incriminating, especially the Banff Canada meeting. And again, your book, Late Great USA, latest edition out. We carry that discounted at Infowars.com and the online video bookstore. But you also are writing on the most up-to-date stuff at WorldNetDaily.com or WND.com, and also in your newsletter. Tell us about some of those places we can check out your work.
Well, the newsletter is the most recent. It's redalert.wnd.com, redalert.wnd.com. Subscription newsletter. I'm writing it every week. There's also a bar on the WorldNet Daily homepage, the gray bars on the left. It's under $100 for the year, so it's about $2 a week. You can also subscribe weekly. And thank you for asking, Alex. I appreciate it.
You better. I hope folks check it out. What new book are you working on right now?
It'll be out in October. It's called America for Sale. I've written it. It'll be out. I'm covering globalism, New World Order. It's right on the themes you cover, Alex. I think you're going to find. I'll come on the show and be with you for a special interview when the book is out in October. America for Sale.
All right, great. Okay, finishing up with the whole SPP, Security Prosperity Partnership, now called a leadership conference, spinning it, secret meeting behind closed doors. They've set up, this multi-merger of the parliaments and the congresses of the three nations. Where is their program, as best we can tell? Are things going well for them? How is this integration into the world government going?
Well, I think clearly the exposure, Alex, that we've all given to this, your show has been a major influence. As the books I've written that you've referenced, we've all made it clear to the American people that the Security and Prosperity Partnership is a North American integration effort, and the exposure hurt the ability of these secret working groups to, in private, without the public involvement, without transparency, no public representatives at all, closed doors, to set North American administrative rules as a prelude to a European Union-style government and even a new currency like the Amero. Now, also, I think the recession, which is a failure of the global economy, and it's going to have a very hard time recovering because so many structural unemployment has created so many jobs in the middle class that are simply gone, manufacturing jobs that are not going to return because the multinational corporations have found slaves somewhere in the world that can do those jobs cheaper than Americans. Now, when you put all this together, the agenda among the globalists is still advancing, and Obama's clearly a globalist. Remember, Alex, President Obama, when he's campaigning in Pennsylvania and Ohio, Michigan, said he was going to renegotiate NAFTA. He even fired Austin Goolsbee, his economic advisor, who during the campaign went to Canada and said, wink, wink, that's just a campaign promise. Well, Austin Goolsbee's back in the White House. He's hired, he's part of the administration with the Council of Economic Advisors, and it was always wink, wink. President Obama very quietly on Sunday, probably the least newsworthy day in the week, is going to go to Mexico and have this big summit. Why doesn't he do it on a Tuesday or Wednesday? When
I was about to say, Dr. Corsi, usually they act like it's the second coming of Christ when, he even goes for a hamburger to play golf or especially to a foreign country. But there's almost no coverage of this. One Reuters article, some of the stories you've written, this radio show. that is really a big indicator of what's going on here. But just going back to the psychology of Obama, how he said he was going to end NAFTA and GATT, and now he's fighting to reauthorize it. How he said he wouldn't push any gun bills, and all they've done is introduce them. How he said he wouldn't hire one lobbyist, and now he's hired nothing but lobbyists. More liberal rules on lobbyists writing bills than Bush had. Secrecy about who visits the White House. A new level of Cheney-level secrecy. Lying about the Patriot Act. Lying about warrantless wiretapping. I mean, this guy is just, he makes Bill Clinton look honest.
Well, and he's not ruling from the center as Bill Clinton did. This was my central argument in the Abomination. This is a far leftist ideologue who was raised in a Saul Alinsky environment. Read his own Dreams from My Father. He says his intellectual formative years were reading Malcolm X